JP Morgan is taking massive losses as well as preparing for a recession. As you guys do know, recessions typically make asset values go down, and it does dry up liquidity, exactly what we need to see the MOAS. So I think this is very important that you guys pay attention to what is said here in this video, because it is a positive thing for AMC stock. But besides that, we are going to talk about why Benzinga is saying AMC stock is moving higher today, as well as the data and the catalyst for tomorrow, and all of the information around AMC you guys need to know, the Ortex data, the max pain, as well as the technical analysis. So let's dive into it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys find value out of this video. Get your free stocks links down below in the description with Webull, Moomoo, and Public if you guys want to support the channel. And if you guys want to come trade with us, get my alerts in real time every time I make a trade, link down below in the pinned comment. But nonetheless, let's talk about it. AMC stock is up about 3% right now. It's a very slow day, very slow day, if you guys have not imagined, or if you guys have not seen yet. Markets pretty stable overall, just slowly going up. AMC stock is staying pretty flat for the whole entire day. Everything kind of caught a bid earlier in the day once trading did begin, and we actually seen a pretty wild swing here from $16.94 on the low all the way up to $18.31 for the high. Now we're just sitting around 2.5 to 3% positive. So overall, a net positive day for AMC stock. But what exactly happened with JP Morgan earnings? So it says JP Morgan Chase reports $524 million hit from market dislocations caused by Russia sanctions. Key points, here are the numbers. Adjusted earnings of $2.76 a share versus $2.69 estimate. Revenue $31.59 billion versus $30.86 billion estimate. In remarks, CEO Jamie Dimon said he saw significant geopolitical and economic challenges ahead due to high inflation, supply chain issues, and the war in Ukraine. And he does also say right here, JP Morgan said it took a $902 million charge for building credit reserves for anticipated loan losses, compared with a $5.2 billion release a year earlier. The bank also booked $524 million in losses driven by markdowns and widening spreads after Russia's invasion of its neighbor. Now, this is very important because the Federal Reserve forced banks to keep a lot of money on the sidelines in case of loan defaults. And they forced these banks to do this, like it says right here, up until a year ago. So they've had this money really released, and now they only have to keep that standard percentage. I believe it's like 4% of all assets under management, but they did just add about another $1 billion to their reserves to make sure once people actually start to default on loans, when that day inevitably does come, JP Morgan is well positioned for that. So this is definitely a bearish standpoint on the markets, and a lot of people are saying that JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, just overall on the earnings call did not sound all too bullish on the state of the economy. And it does say, Dimon said he built up credit reserves because of higher probabilities of downside risk in the U.S. economy, specifically from the impact of high inflation in the Ukraine conflict. So, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, especially when the markets are looking forward to and starting to price in a recession. It's a little bit more confirmation from somebody that probably has more insight than we do. Jamie Dimon, he's basically at the top of the global economy, right? You know everything if you're Jamie Dimon. You are the CEO of JP Morgan, and he has been for a very long time, back to even before 2008. So if they're starting to put up money in their reserves, definitely not a good sign. So be mindful with your portfolios and your positionings here in the next couple of months. But overall, this is a positive for AMC stock. Let me remind you that stocks during 2008, they short squeezed, not because of retail activity. Retail was not really in the markets in a substantial way during that time in 08, 09. But what actually happened is liquidity dried up because a recession came. It was very hard to get access to capital, and cheap capital was unavailable. So what happened? You got a big catalyst, and the stock started to go crazy. Volkswagen, Overstock, lots of other stocks at the time because of those reasons. So now we're heading back into that kind of environment. You're not going to be seeing those bailouts. You're simply not going to be seeing that. And you're not going to be seeing banks letting hedge funds stay in these risky positions. They are going to forcefully liquidate on those positions once a big catalyst comes out for AMC stock and once the stock really does start to rally. So I think this is a little bit more confirmation of this pending recession and liquidity crisis that is here on the near-term horizon. So pretty bullish overall, but not so bullish for the broad economy. Now, Benzinga, why AMC stock is moving higher today. It says the movie theater chain announced late Tuesday that it has agreed to buy and operate 7 locations in Connecticut, upstate New York, and Annapolis, Maryland. The company expects to begin operations at 4 of these locations on April 21st, with the remaining scheduled to open in the coming weeks. This is in addition to the 7 theaters the company recently acquired in Los Angeles, San Diego, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. So a little bit of bullish news right there. I don't really expect this to be a huge deal considering AMC is a movie theater and the chain and they just acquired more theaters. It's not a huge deal, right? When AMC does start to diversify and start to buy other businesses, that's where you're going to really see the big rallies. And I think a lot of that action is just around the corner. Adam Aarons has said he's looking into up to 5 businesses to spend $500 million acquiring stakes in. And I think that process is ongoing and that news could drop at any moment. So it's something to, be mindful of. But that is why the stock is moving higher today in Benzinga's own words. As far as tomorrow, what are we setting up for? Well, we have consumer surveys that do come out, which is going to be very important. The Michigan 5-year inflation expectations, Michigan consumer expectations, Michigan consumer sentiment, and Michigan current conditions. And these surveys will move the markets a little bit. They always do. It says a low volatility expected event, or a catalyst, I should say, but they always move the markets because, after all, inflation expectations drive inflation numbers. Direct correlation there. And you do also have initial jobless claims that might move the markets if it's significant in one direction or the other, below or above expectations. And then you do have core retail sales month over month. That's going to be very, very important to possibly signal, hey, is the consumer slowing down? Are we getting closer to seeing that actual recession? And that's going to be very, very important. And that all does come out at about 8:30 in the morning. And then you have the Michigan consumer sentiment surveys, and that comes out at about 10 a.m. as well. So it's going to be a very important day tomorrow. And I would pay very close attention to especially what happens with the retail sales numbers. Now, let's talk a little bit more about AMC stock, and AMC is up almost 3% currently, looking pretty damn good so far, sitting at $17.92 per share. I really want to see us get above the 50-day moving average. That is currently at $18.53 per share. It could happen by the end of the day today, and that's going to be a very, very bullish sign if that does happen. But tomorrow I want to look for that break above the 50-day moving average. At this point, if we cannot break above the 50-day and you do see more negativity in the markets and more bearish sentiment, then you're definitely going to see the stock fall to about $15 per share. I think it's more likely that we do rally above the 50-day moving average, but it is definitely a chance that we do drop back down to 15. Keep in mind, when people say the stock's going back down to 13 or 10, people are always going to say that when a stock basically does nothing but go down for 2.5 weeks. What we do know is that AMC stock likes to rally when people bet against it. So I would be very, very cautious if you are betting against AMC, buying puts, shorting the stock, whatever you're doing. I would be very cautious because one of these catalysts, they're going to come out one day and the stock's going to rally another 45%, and people are going to all of a sudden love the stock again. So that's the main key. The MACD is bearish. The RSI is at 44.18. Also definitely on the negative side, on the oversold side of things. So that's pretty important. The 100-day moving average is at $22.26 per share. Also very, very important. important. Now let's go ahead and look at the Ortex data, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up this video. I wanted to keep this pretty short, sweet, and straight to the point. And you're looking at about 19.98% short interest of free float. Current shares that are sold short of about 103 million. Cost bar max of 2.73%. Utilization of 100%, and days to cover at 2.45. So not too much has actually changed there. Shorts indeed are still not covering. The option flow sentiment for the day, 17 orders totaling $9.76 million. Positive order value of 54%. Again, another bullish sign. You're seeing a majority of the option activity from institutional investors being positive for the day. So definitely good rather than bad. Now, on top of all that, the max pain for tomorrow is $20 per share. Not sure if that will happen. If it obviously does, that's going to be a pretty substantial day tomorrow. And that would be a good ending to the week, if I do say so myself. But really what we have to contend with for tomorrow is going to be TSMC earnings. That is Taiwan Semiconductor earnings. Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Citi, Morgan Stanley, PNC, Ally Bank, all of these banks report tomorrow morning, and they might give us more glimpse into the consumer sentiment. We really didn't get any insight into how the consumer is doing as far as JP Morgan. They kind of said some bullish things, right? Consumers still doing well. There wasn't any big headlines that actually came out of that, which I was surprised from that. So the markets didn't really take anything and run with it, besides the negative comments that Jamie Dimon did say. Again, he is the CEO of JP Morgan and a well-respected, well-known figure in the investment community. He's been the CEO for like 20 some years. So that's going to be key, and that's definitely going to move the markets tomorrow if you see any surprise announcements from any of these banks. So that's basically it. That's basically what you guys need to know. If you guys found value out of this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If I don't respond to your comment, come join us on the live stream 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will answer all of those questions, go over all of the news that you guys need to know, and much more. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time as well, link down below in the pinned comment. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.